Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasures.
Oh yeah, we got the lights going today because we're back. The gruesome twosome is back.
We're back. I didn't go anywhere, but...
Yes. Oh, wait, yeah. Jesse's been here.
I've been here.
I'm back. I meant we're back as a team.
Together as a unit, we're back.
Yes. Welcome to Guilty Movie Pleasures, young and old, fans of new and old. I really screwed the pooch on that one.
You nailed it. That was good.
Anyways,
that's good. Be supportive of your host.
Give me a break. I've been gone 2 weeks. I'm your host, Ben Begley, and with me, as always,
Jesse McIntosh.
Yes, we are back. I'm very excited. I was working for a couple weeks, which was a nice change of pace.
Congratulations.
My daughter even, because we shot for 2 weeks, and my daughter, like, every day, she's like, "You're going to work again?" It's like, that's the life of a actor dad, where your daughter's confused when you have a job.
Being work shamed by your toddler.
You're going to work again?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you sure?
They want you there? They don't usually ask for you to go.
You audition a lot, but you don't work a lot. Oh, my God. Anyways, we're back. I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited that we've had this requested several times, Loaded Weapon 1, which I love that it's called Loaded Weapon 1. Full disclosure, I've never seen this movie. I'd seen Hot Shots Part 2, which was the sequel, Part 2, Airplane, Naked Gun, all those movies. And I remember when I used to work at the video store, Video Time in Akron, Ohio.
Shout out.
We had the VHS boxes and then a tag you would have to take to the back room to give them the VHS tape so they couldn't just steal it. And I remember the box of Loaded Weapon vividly ever since I was a kid and always being like, I'll bet that's funny, and then never watching it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I've rectified that.
You wanted to save it for a special time in your life?
I wanted to save it for 38 years into my life on a Monday night. But I will say that I love... The few things I love about the spoofs of this time period is they do the dumbest stuff imaginable, but play it, for the most part, very deadpan and dry, which is what works really well for me, as opposed to spoofs nowadays. Not the Wayans brothers, but there was like this string of spoofs after the Wayans brothers, like date movie, epic movie, blah, blah, blah movie, where they just cram in a bunch of shit and people are like, "Hi!" And if you're already in an absurd situation and you're going, "Hi!" I'm just going to keep doing that randomly. Then it's
I was trying to play a deadpan. Did you see me?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You did a great job. Then it's not funny, but the fact that super dumb shit is happening in this movie, but they're playing it straight, especially a lot of Emilio Estevez's jokes are really ridiculous, and he nails it. I would say 1 in every 3 jokes is hilarious to me, and then like 2 of them may fall flat or get a chuckle, but the ones that are hilarious make the movie worthwhile for me.
Yeah.
What's your take on this, buddy?
You know, I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought...
Oh, I didn't love it. I'm not like over the moon for it.
I'm trying to like reconcile exactly how I'm feeling, because there were a couple of moments where I laughed out loud, but for the most part, I was just like, that's a joke. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I could see that.
I was just like identifying, like, here comes, and like once we got about a third of the way through and they started really leaning on pun jokes.
Yeah.
I was like,
the first 20 minutes to me was the funniest.
Yeah.
And it wears a little thin, but I still found enough to... I would say that if I saw this movie in the 90s when I was a kid, I would love it. Like, this would be my jam. I still thoroughly enjoyed it for the 80 minutes of its existence.
Yeah, it was really short, which worked to its benefit. But I felt like it could have been shorter. So what I appreciated about it, and the parts that I really enjoyed the most, were like the visual stuff that you thought they had dropped and then just like came back in the periphery.
Yeah.
So an example of that would be like the dandruff thing, and then he like came back and was like massaging his head. Not the initial joke of like, what's going on here, and then the description of having dandruff, but once that's established, him coming back and like not really referring to it at all, but just like going at it. So stuff like that versus like the entire introduction to Jon Lovitz, where there's just like miscommunication
I thought those were hilarious.
I was just like, it was every single line. It was like pulling teeth.
Why was she going to meet you here? Because I live here. Why you? Because the other guy couldn't afford the rent.
Right.
That was hilarious.
Oh man,
I love that beat.
Oh boy. And then I don't have a specific example, but I've said puns a couple times. Just like how. Like just to, I guess, stay on that scene for a moment, when we get the reveal of like him laundering money and just like money going in the washing machine was a really long for me.
I still love that. I didn't care.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
Yeah, that's like I get it. I get that it's funny.
And
you know
William
what I mean?
Shatner was a great villain. He's so ridiculous in this movie.
Yeah,
I will say that I love Tim. Oh my God.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Oh my God. I literally just like, I saw his name fly away and I'm like, no, I don't have my glasses on. I can't read you, name. Come back. Tim Curry. I think he had funny moments, but I think he was really hitting the gas on it to the point where, like, if he just pulled back a little, it was almost like he was, this is going to sound ridiculous. It was almost like he was too big for the movie.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, every other character's playing it really dry, and then he's very like, I'm Tim Curry, and I'm doing a pseudo accent, you know, and it just doesn't. His character's already bonkers, and I know Tim Curry's fantastic too, and capable of being more subtle.
Can I tell you that I have a bias against Tim Curry? I like since a very
because of it.
No, because of Home Alone 2.
Oh.
He was the hotel clerk, like the quasi-evil hotel clerk in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I'd be like, you know what? I hate Tim Curry.
What a dick.
I can't handle it. And
I feel the same way about Donald Trump. It's all because of Home Alone 2. It's solely because of Home Alone 2 that I dislike Donald Trump.
Yep.
And about 1,000 other things.
Sure, but like specifically,
but it started there.
The other stuff more generally, but specifically Home Alone 2. One of the other like very funny like just sight gags that I really appreciated, and I like set the movie off on a really good foot, and I was prepared to really love it. Was Emilio Estevez has like a trailer on the beach.
Yeah.
Which is stereotypical or whatever. And then he opens the door to the trailer and walks in, and it's like a palace.
It's like a Doctor Who TARDIS where like it opens up and it's just like infinitely large.
Yeah.
Did I go too deep cut nerd with you there?
Not at all.
Because you totally
drive by it.
You gave me this look when I said that, like,
yep.
Yep. Move on from this.
I hope that I'm saying yes to something that's appropriate. I don't know. And then when Kathy Ireland comes by and she's like, "It's much bigger in here than I thought it was going to be," and he's like, "Yeah, I use light colors. Really opens it up."
So funny.
It's like very funny.
So let's get this started. Let's do the. Should we even do the plot in under 3 minutes?
I'm gonna have a really hard time with this. I'm just gonna say it off the bat, but we can try.
We can try. Let's try the plot in under 3 minutes. Although I mean, this movie doesn't. It has one ish.
I mean, they all have wants that they're striving towards.
Let's do it, Ryan.
Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we start off with this massive, ridiculous shootout in a convenience store where Emilio Estevez wrecks the entire place, and the owners are pissed off. And then we establish Whoopi Goldberg has a microfilm that exposes that they're trying to sell cocaine in Girl Scout cookies. Tim Curry shows up and shoots her like 8 times and keeps asking her different directions. That scene was hilarious. And then Sam Jackson's introduced. They're said you have to be partnered up with Emilio Estevez. Colt is his name, and we find out that his partner died, but Colt's partner is actually a dog. Then they go to try and find out their first witness, which is Jon Lovitz, but they go to like 3 different crime scenes first on accident within the building.
Yep.
Then they find Jon Lovitz, he gets killed, and then.
So before all that, Dennis Leary is like...
There's that thing. There's that whole thing I completely forgot existed.
It's super not important. Dennis Leary is like kind of a kingpin, I guess, and then he's killed by the big
Denise
boss.
Richards is one of the...
Denise Richards is an extra, I guess, in this movie.
Maybe this was her first movie. I don't know.
But she also gets killed, I think. And so they like are investigating that, and they're like, I suspect this isn't a suicide.
That was my favorite. That recurring joke of, I think this wasn't a suicide.
I'm pretty sure this wasn't a suicide. And we get the dandruff guy, and then he has athlete's foot as well, the burning and cracking.
And then from there they bring in the woman from the Girl Scout cookie company, who's nerdy at first till she lets her hair down, then she becomes Kathy Ireland.
Yep.
Then they do a Basic Instinct spoof that goes on for way too long, but then pays off with a hilarious, gratuitous beaver shot, which literally it's a beaver puppet. And then
she has second thoughts, right?
Yeah.
She goes and she's like,
she falls for Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. And so she goes to Emilio Estevez's house, and they
lights a bunch of candles
because she couldn't find the switch, and then they have sex.
No, they don't. They actually just lay and smoke cigarettes in bed. They say
I thought
later.
it was implying that it took 30 seconds.
Because later on they say, "Hey, next time, do you want to do something more than just lay in bed and smoke cigarettes?"
No, I missed that.
I love that.
So the helicopter comes by and is like shooting a trailer up.
It turns out to be Bruce Willis's trailer, John McClane.
And he's like, "No, the one you're looking for is down there." And then they run out of the trailer, and there's a cross-dressing joke. So they go back and they swap, and then they kiss, and then
they blow up the place. Do they blow up the helicopter?
Nope.
I don't know. And then there's a big showdown at the Girl Scout cookie factory where Jon Lovitz gets killed 8 times.
Yep. And Samuel L. Jackson, who's a rules follower, shows up and stops following the rules.
And he shoots William Shatner, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie ends with them driving off with the dog and Kathy Ireland in the back. And Jon Lovitz. We really petered out towards the end. Our energy was like, because this movie isn't about.
It's not
plot.
about anything.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's about saxophone riffs, which I was amazed how much of this soundtrack sounds just like Lethal Weapon score.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a lot of the moody, sexy saxophones, like not Bleecker Street, but
Yeah.
similar.
Was that an alto? Were you playing an alto? Then?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was, because that's like the highest my voice can go.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But already this scene starts off. In fact, can we just play that clip that I sent you, Ryan, the opening shootout scene? And started on 50 seconds in. I'll set it up first. The first visual gag to me that was hilarious is when he gets out of the car and he steps on one cigarette, then a cigar, and then a pipe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to love this movie. Yeah. And then this shootout is fantastic. It's like all the myriad of weapons they bring out. Let's just let this play. It's like a minute long or something. We'll cut it off at some point.
Yes, sir. Do you have any of these in taupe?
So we've got a translator there. We have two counter guys and then a translator.
Wait, did he say no taupe beef jerky?
Yeah. Yep. And here's the second sight gag is Emilio Estevez standing in all these postcards that fell out of the magazine.
That's such a
This is very funny.
Mind if I join in?
And every time he pulls out this handgun, it goes like a shotgun. And now we have, for those of you listening, we have night vision goggles, or so we think, and then it's revealed to be
paper towels, toilet paper rolls.
I think two ply.
Yeah.
You can. He shoots. The bad guy's shooting these cans, and it happens. They all shoot out where it looks like the brawny man on the cover of it's peeing.
Yeah. So they're just at this point intentionally destroying products.
It sure seems so.
I think they're just
shooting side by side.
Two opposing guys shooting side by side.
Lots of side.
And then the translator has a flamethrower, makes popcorn.
They got a bazooka, a Tommy gun.
So a lot of weapons show up out of nowhere. And then they go flying out of the mini mart.
This will lead into, but they do the amazing Jean-Claude Van Damme thing where they show the same sequence from 8 different angles. Okay, I'll shut up now. Here we go.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire 173 times or 174? Well, do you feel lucky, punk?
All right, that's it. Oh God, I love it. So this is like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie.
Yeah. And
it dips for sure from that epic opening.
Sure.
But man, does that opening set up everything you're gonna get.
Yes.
Because every other joke is hilarious in that beginning. Like the thing with stepping off of a pile of subscription cards from the magazine is hysterical.
Yeah.
And then like the joke on how many times people don't reload in action movies, like how you see them just like it's like, I think that only had 15 bullets in it. I don't know guns, but I'm sure it doesn't have 173.
Certainly not.
So good. That
I can't
whole
imagine.
opening.
Well, and even just to, like, circle back to the postcard thing, when he's looking through the magazine, they just like keep falling out, which is a funny enough joke. And then when we cut back to him, he's just standing in a small hill.
It's so good.
Of them.
Oh, I love that shit. Oh my God. So then we go and we see Whoopi Goldberg from there, and she has a wig on top of her hair, which is massive.
Yep.
We find out they're going to put cocaine in Girl Scout cookies.
Yep.
I don't know. It's never clear to me if then they melt it back down or something to sniff, or if they eat the cocaine. I don't know the physics of cocaine on your body. Can you eat it, or do you have to snort it?
Well, I think you can eat it.
I'm sure you.
I think it's you only need a very small amount. I've never eaten cocaine.
I've never eaten or done it. I've walked in a bathroom when somebody's like, "Hey man, you want some?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm good, man. I'm
Absolutely
good."
not. I don't.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Do you follow-up question? Do you have any cookies?
Do you have any cookies without cocaine?
Right, sans cocaine.
No, I only have cocaine and cookies with cocaine.
Well, then never mind.
Never mind.
This is it's been a pleasure meeting you.
But then the sequence where he shoots her and she's like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Wait, which street? This one or the?" And then she's like, "That one." And then he shoots her again, and just I find stuff like that. It reminds me of the Robin Hood Men in Tights when Alan Rickman takes forever to not Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman's in Prince of Thieves.
In the actual one. I forget who's the bad guy in Men in Tights. But like that whole joke of like I love those kind of ridiculous deadpan moments.
Yeah, I mean, and they also play on the idea of like, because I think how it starts is he's like, give me a name, and she says like, I don't know, Williams or something, and he shoots her, and he's like, oh damn, I know a few Williamses. So he turns back and he gets more specific, and he just keeps getting more specific. But it's very funny, like that's a trope that is everywhere of just getting like the smallest amount of information and being able to proceed from there. But no, you probably need to like write some stuff down. I would assume.
Yeah, and I think that's a really funny spoof on action movies where it's like, his name's Guado, man. His name's Guado. All right, moving on. We got everything we need from
Perfect.
that. Yeah, exactly. So then Sam Jackson shows up, finds her dead, and there's another sight gag that I laughed out loud, even though it's super dumb, where he goes through and there's no police tape, and then he walks back through and it's been littered with
right. Because you see that once he goes in the room, you see him like start to tape it off, and then he has a conversation, turns around, and just like slams into this.
It's that kind of stuff
tape.
that I don't care. I don't care if it's lowbrow or dumb. I think it's hilarious.
I think that stuff is hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where this movie fell short.
Yeah.
I think all of that stuff is really, really solid.
Yeah, that scene. Oh God! And then so they go and they do like a Hannibal Lecter spoof where I think it's Murray Abraham. I think is the actor who I'll never forget. I have a bias towards him.
Oh, tell me why.
Because we were shown in music class in grade school Amadeus, the movie, and he plays Soliardi. I think is the guy who basically helped Mozart accidentally kill himself or something like that, like go nuts and like starved him and stuff. So he's like a dark character. And I remember out of like 4th or 5th grade watching this movie and being creeped out by this dude. And so every time I see him since then, I always think he's the bad guy. And then ironically in Last Action Hero, the little boy goes, "No, you can't trust him. He killed Mozart." And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
They reference it.
How about
so
that?
even that movie was, it was even bringing it up again.
Yeah. Well, so he fit right in playing Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, exactly. And they bring up the quid pro quo sound clip that I pulled, number 2, and I just thought it was appropriate with everything going on.
Sure.
Quid pro quo, Mr. Comte.
What's that mean?
It means I'm pretentious.
It means I'm pretentious. I think that's so funny. Oh, God. We could go further with that, but it's okay. And then there's like in the police station, they're doing there's a woman going, "No, he looked like this. Change it like this." And they reveal it's a potato head.
Yeah.
And then that's another thing that it's an in the background sight gag where a criminal's being dragged in like, I didn't do it. And it's a potato head.
Yeah.
It's a man with a potato head.
It's so good.
That kind of stuff is brilliant. Oh, God, I love it.
And I love the police chief.
Yeah. Ooh, he's the police chief in Last Action Hero. This movie.
So he's spoofing himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Last Action Hero, they go even further where he's yelling so much that you can't understand. He's just like, hey, we're doing and it literally is gibberish, and that's the joke.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute. Did he do a bunch of I got to look up this guy's IMDb and see if he just...
He's so good at screaming
played
gibberish.
This spoof. We get Charlie Sheen as the first valet, which is funny because Hot Shots had come out right before this, which we find out later when Jon Lovitz mentions it, which is probably one of your least favorite jokes, but whatever. I loved this exchange. So just know before we play clip number 3 that this is a misunderstanding between Samuel L. Jackson and Emilio Estevez, where Emilio Estevez's departed or missing partner was his dog. But Samuel L. Jackson thinks it's a female woman, a human being, not a dog.
So what happened to your partner?
The hell of it is, I don't know. Came home one night and she was gone.
You two were living together?
Hell, she used to sleep at my feet and lick my toes. No, sometimes she'd forget about me and just lick herself for hours.
Personally, I don't think it's such a good idea to get that involved with your partner.
Hey, pal, you try not getting involved with a partner who saves your life one minute and then nuzzles your crotch the next.
Well, Billy and I didn't have that kind of relationship. She left the force about 5 years ago, and we didn't see each other much after that, but when we did get together, she was always excited to see me.
When Claire was excited to see me, she'd pee on my leg.
What do you think happened to her?
Maybe she just took off. I hadn't been paying enough attention to her. I realized how neglected she felt the night she shit in my shoes.
I also realized never record sound clips anymore from my laptop in the kitchen because they sound awful. In my defense, I didn't have a choice. My daughter was watching episodes of Lego Star Wars on Disney Plus, and I was in the kitchen trying to record these before driving over here.
Sure.
So you do what you can.
That's all you can do.
But that sounded awful.
Hey, don't sell yourself short. I would argue,
I knew something was wrong the night she shit in my shoes.
It's again just not my favorite exchange.
Oh, I think it's so funny though. Honest. I don't care. But then the next thing is hysterical where they're like, I think we're being followed.
Yes.
And there's 2 dudes sitting with machine guns and ski masks in the backseat of their car.
Right.
And they go, we're gonna lose him. And they do this like elaborate move and the guys are gone.
Well, even before that, he's like, play it cool. And they have a really like obviously
it's so funny.
Obviously oblivious conversation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the second half of that scene I prefer to the first half, I would say.
I love it all, and I prefer it all. Then Dennis Leary and William Shatner bobs for piranhas, which that's kind of a joke. Where I'm like, where he like shoves his head in and pulls out a piranha. That's the stuff that I'm like, that's just dumb.
Yes.
Like that's not clever. But then they're going to the first witness where they're going to find Jon Lovitz, and the first thing is a shootout. A hostage situation, and they go up and they say, what are you, a comedian or a cop? And Phil Hartman is that cop, and he goes and starts telling stand-up jokes in the middle of a hostage situation.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought it was funny. And then they go to another shootout.
They have that was 2 separate, right? Because this is you're talking about the one that's outside when they're shooting up,
and then there's the one with the chips guys.
Right. But the one that's outside, you have Samuel L. Jackson's like, all right, I'm going to try and stop this domestic disturbance from going on. So he's like, I need you guys to put your hands up, and they just unload on all the cops. And he had told the cops, don't fire until I tell you. And they're just getting unloaded on, and this one young cop stands up and takes one shot. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, hey, what'd I tell you? Give me your gun.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So the one you're talking about is like, I think right above the police station, or like I don't know. They're like talking to a witness and they hear commotion. So
and then they go upstairs and then it's Chips. It's the 2 police officers from Chips.
Yep.
And they're like, no, man, you got to go to room whatever. And then they go find Jon Lovitz, where this exchange, these are 2 things that Jesse's going to hate, but I found hilarious.
Yes.
Clip number 4.
So what do you know about a piece of microfilm?
It's small and brittle and
It's used in a lot of Bond films.
It is used in a lot of Bond films.
He's not wrong about any of that.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Now let's just get it over. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's do it.
Hey, at least this movie didn't have any puking on camera.
Thank God.
Right?
Yes.
That would have been like a nope.
I'm actually very surprised.
Let's play clip number 5.
Give me a name. Weren't your parents supposed to do that?
I thought that was hilarious.
Sure, yeah.
But maybe, okay, so wait. Is it the fact that joke isn't funny to you, or is it that they did like 8 in a row?
That's what I was going to say. This particular scene, literally every single line was that. And I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Like, let's get somewhere. What are we doing here?
Okay. So you're saying if it was like, if they gave it a break.
If they had just sprinkled them in.
It was like they were trying to do a Who's on First, but on like cocaine. You know, like that routine. But like every single thing is a misunderstanding, but not building off of the first one.
Yes. Yeah. And it just like makes you, okay. So you're relying on the fact that Jon Lovitz is the dumbest human being alive.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And like that just breaks all reality of anything that's going on. That like no human being would make this mistake, and I don't even know what you're spoofing here, to be honest, because like
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so you're saying if it adhered to some sort of rule of spoofing an action film,
then it would have been fine. If you're like
because
doing it to make a point,
but because they're just making him dumb repeatedly to be funny and beating it over the head, that's where it gets old for you.
I think what they're spoofing is the fact that like the questions that are asked in interrogations are generally pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But like that particular execution just didn't work for me.
And I thought it was all hilarious. Yeah. But whatever. Agree to disagree,
We'll
my friend. We will have to. Then there was there's a moment. Is it Jon Lovitz that's in the bag and where they're like, hey, am I going to be all right? And they're like, you're going to be on your feet in no time. Then they zip up a body bag and chuck him in in the coroner van. Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, and it set the tone for the rest of it because he was like clearly shot many times from behind. They're like, we'll protect you. And then bullets come flying through the window and he goes down. And then the next, they like cut to him being like, am I going to be okay? They're like, yeah. And then they zip him off.
Instead of clip number 6, can we cue up that other video I had, Ryan? Yeah, here we go. This is actually my favorite scene in the movie.
Okay.
This scene is my favorite joke in the entire.
So are you telling me that you took evidence from the scene of a criminal investigation?
Look, you want to crack this case or not?
Not by making up the rules as I go.
Sometimes, pal, those are the only rules that work.
So their car just exploded.
Taxi!
And then the taxi explodes.
Guess we're making somebody nervous. Tell you what, it's gonna take a lot more than a couple of car bombs to get us off this case.
Not a hell of a lot more.
But the one thing we did talk over was he goes, man, I guess it's good we picked valet or something like that.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a funny line. Like, that guy's dead, but at least it wasn't us.
Yeah. And then they did
a
very funny job calling this back when they commandeer two
kids' bikes.
The bicycles
and
of two children.
Bikes explode and they fly off.
Yeah.
Not a hell of a lot more. See, but it's the delivery on that where everything they do is very dry. It's not like... It's not too big, you know? That's why it's so funny.
But again, like to me, these are the jokes that work. That's when we just see it happen.
Yeah.
And they're reacting to it. But it's clearly like, I know what we're spoofing here. I know what's going on. And it's executed really well. And then, just like the follow-up of the taxi and then the follow-up of the bikes is perfect.
And then we get Kathy Ireland introduced where she's nerdy at first. And then lets her hair down, and it's Kathy Ireland. And then they do the Basic Instinct spoof where, at first it was kind of funny. I was because they were, but it went on way too long. Where they're interrogating her, and every time she crosses her legs, she spins around in her swivel chair, and all the guys in each cut they have less clothes on because they're sweating so much to try and get a peek.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, we're really beating this over the head. But then when they said gratuitous beaver shot and had a beaver puppet there. I'm slightly ashamed to admit that I laughed my ass off. I felt bad.
Yeah.
But I think I laughed because it was just finally a relief that the scene was over.
Yes.
And it was the dumbest thing I could have imagined.
It was pretty dumb.
So I was like, it may have been just like a cathartic, thank God that stupid joke is over, but also like, I don't know. They went there and I kind of appreciated how dumb that was.
Yeah. The welcome part for me was in the very beginning when we're introduced to Whoopi Goldberg, I think. They give us the like title card of like Los Angeles night.
House.
67 degrees and warm or whatever. And then they say house.
They do that a few
like
times.
That was very funny. And then we get that again with the gratuitous beaver shot. So I wish they would have done that more.
That was fun. Yeah.
The labeling, because that always worked.
Yeah. So the gratuitous beaver shot worked for you or didn't?
It was
fine.
It was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take
fine.
that. I'll take that. Fine's okay.
Yeah, it was fine. It was better than the Jon Lovitz scene, for sure.
So then, it doesn't matter. Emilio Estevez is put gunpoint by Tim Curry's character. This is towards the end of the shootout and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter. Let's just it's this joke.
They have like an argument, him and Samuel L. Jackson, where Samuel L. Jackson always plays by the rules, and we get the memory of him being a crossing guard and a woman dying because he didn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
And then Emilio Estevez being the impulsive shoot from the hip guy, and then we find out that his dog was actually that. In their relationship, but he's taken that mantle, and so they like split, and they're like, all right, well we're incompatible.
Yep. And then he goes to and Emilio Estevez goes to the cookie factory to investigate on its own. And this is when Tim Curry finds him and puts a gun to his head.
Who the hell are you?
I am your worst nightmare.
No. Waking up without my penis is my worst nightmare.
It's the specificity.
It's my worst nightmare.
It's the specificity of that that's so funny to me. Waking up without my penis is my worst nightmare.
My worst nightmare.
Without my penis is my worst nightmare.
The delivery of that is really good.
But that clip shows you exactly what I'm talking about, where Tim Curry's line is way too broad.
Yeah.
And then the joke line is deadpan.
Yeah.
But Tim Curry's like, I am your worst nightmare. It's too much. He's hitting the gas too much, and he's too damn talented to do that.
Yeah.
And that's
too damn talented, and if I may, too damn hateable.
Too damn hateable.
I can't do it.
I love that it's not it. I love that it wasn't Pennywise.
Nope.
But it's Home Alone 2.
Correct.
That's fantastic. So then there's he jumps. He goes to jump off the bridge. We were skipping around a little, but
sure.
Emilio Estevez jumps off the bridge and lands in the pavement, which I thought would have been funny enough if he was just in the pavement, but then they had to go a step further and make it an imprint of him, which was just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But whatever. Let's fast forward because we only have a couple minutes left.
I'm going to jump in. Just one of my favorite sight gags in the whole thing was when Tim Curry falls down and there's an outline that he missed. And so he just like crawls over and fits in the
chalk outline.
In the outline. Yeah.
So now we have Kathy Ireland and Emilio Estevez Colt. We have their the lead up to what we think is their lovemaking scene, but ends up being a 60-second cigarette break.
Yeah.
Let's play clip number 8.
What's with all the candles?
I couldn't find the light switch.
And that's funny to me because we've talked about this.
Yeah.
How many freaking candles do they have in? I think it was Face Off that had like 1 billion candles. There's like always in these action movies where there's like the sex scene in a 80s and 90s action film, they have like 400 candles.
Yeah.
And it's like all it takes is 1 foot in the throes of passion to knock that over and you're toast.
It's also like really hot.
Yeah.
Like that's fire.
Yeah.
That you're just like putting
Dangerous,
all over. Yeah.
uncomfortable, and irresponsible.
Sure.
So there.
And expensive.
Ryan, do we have any more time or is 40 seconds it?
You know what? We can add another minute.
Oh, good. Thank you for taking 10 seconds of our other minute to do that. I'm kidding.
I was on the edge of my seat.
I'm totally kidding. So then he gets up, and this is another sight gag with a joke that I think is funny because this constantly happened in action movies where the main hero would walk and his butt would be illuminated and just ripped. And so clip number 9.
Where are you going?
Nowhere. I'm just taking one of those unmotivated butt in the moonbeam walks.
Because that's in every action movie ever in the 80s and 90s. You're just like an ass in the moonbeam.
Yeah.
That's it for no reason.
It's the sexiest way to see an ass.
You know, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Bruce Willis cameo happens. This is the last sound clip we have. Then we'll sum up a few more of the sight gags that we enjoyed. This was the Hot Shots call out.
Hey, Cole, did you see Hot Shots? Not that I'm drawing any parallels here, but don't you think it's kind of coincidence? You know, it's kind of weird that, like, you know, you're doing this, and then the Hot Shots.
All right, Becker, that's it. This one's got your name written all over it.
No!
And then he throws the bomb into the bay, and a bunch of scuba divers.
I thought that was hilarious.
A bunch of scuba divers pop up like when you're blasting for fish or whatever it's called. Oh, that
scuba divers
funny.
popped up, and they're like very clearly still moving and alive. They're supposed to be dead, but the actors are just like
it's so funny
having to move. It's funny.
And then there's like the chalk outline we already said. The bad guy's taking a number to fight Colt. I thought was hysterical.
I thought that was very good.
In the end, because that always in action movies, you're like, why doesn't everybody just gang up at the same time? Is it an ego thing? And when Kathy Ireland's dying and she's bleeding and she's like, kiss me, and he's like, oh, I'm good. I thought that was hysterical too, because that happens constantly in action where it's like, and they're like, I love you, and it's like, that's kind of disgusting.
Right.
And then it ends with a Wayne's World spoof, which admittedly it kind of ended on a fart. But whatever.
Yeah.
The movie was a gas. Even if it ended on a fart.
Well done.
Right? You
well
like that?
Well done out of you.
That's all we got for today. Jesse, until next time, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Too Much Jesse, and for Sketch at The Prom Losers.
You can find me at the Ben Begley on Twitter and Instagram. And my wife and I promise we're eventually going to put some reviews up. We have a new Twitter handle, at Real Parent Reviews, REEL Parent Reviews. And keep some suggestions coming. We'll be back weekly now for the foreseeable future. So let us know. Leave a comment on YouTube. Like us, follow us at Guilty Movie Guys, all that good stuff.
What do you guys think of Pixels? Let us know.
Until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Whitworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.